हेलो एवरीवन। आज हम समझने की कोशिश करते हैं एक नए कॉन्सेप्ट को ग्लोबलाइजेशन के रिलेशन में। The instance when we say about or talk about globalization, we are conveying one idea that the complete world is converting into one hub or center where there is exchange of ideas, exchange of goods, and trade, commerce, and everything, which is making this whole world a single village, single interconnected village. That is globalization. And when we see globalization as a phenomena, so we understand it more in form of economic terms, where we say that now the world is interconnected and there is exchange of ideas, there is exchange of technology, there is greater trade, there is greater interdependence because of the goods exchanged and the goods exported or imported and all those things. So this is more of a economic idea. But then why do we need to understand this term globalization in terms or in relation with the society? So globalization as a phenomena, when we say the interconnectedness of different part of the world, making the complete world as a single unit, making the complete world as a single unit, then this single unit has impact on the societies. How? When we come across different ideas and when we come across different things that are happening across the world, then we too get influenced by it. And because of that specific influence or that aspect, what happens? We start changing or developing new abilities in ourselves. This new abilities developing in us or new things that are developing in us always will have certain impact on our day to day life, and it will overall impact the society in its different formats. Like if I take up the example of dress, so to Indian dressing style, sari, suit, and other variants of it has been the primary dress. And if I talk in terms for the male, it was dhoti kurta or kurta pajama or one or the either of its variants. Clear? But with globalization, what happened? Now we see people wearing jeans. Now we see people wearing formals. We see women wearing formal dresses. We see women wearing jeans, t-shirt, and the guys wearing jeans and t-shirt. And we adapting that style, which is more prominent in the West. So this is one impact of globalization that is visual to us. We see it. Like, let's say, take the second example, entertainment. All of you all or some of you all would have heard of K-pop, a Korean band, and people in India are turning fan of this. At one point or other, people have heard Metallica. Still, there are people who enjoy Metallica. There are people who enjoy Michael Jackson or Justin Bieber. So, what all is being conveyed by these examples? When I'm talking about K-pop or Justin Bieber or Michael Jackson, I'm trying to convey one single idea, that it is the impact of globalization on the Indian society or the society in general, that we have started adapting or accommodating the different ideas of different part of the world and either following it or accepting it and making it the part of our system. So there are two things that happens in this process that needs to be understood, so that the greater idea of impact of globalization is understood by you all, and my idea is not to give you the points where you will be writing it down and you will be fetching marks. My idea in in this segment here is that you get that clear idea as to what is happening. Then you would have the examples from your real life which you can clearly quote. So try understanding this in a way that whenever any part of the world interacts with the other part of the world, so it is not only business, it is not only exchange of goods, there would be exchange of ideas also, there would be exchange of certain practices which is not followed by us, but we saw it being followed by the other person, or maybe the other person will see something which is being followed by us. Then when we look to these two combination of ideas, what do? Either we'll be impressed by it, we'll be happy seeing it, okay, this is something new, or I found this practice as good practice and I'll adopt it. And slowly and steadily, it will become the part of my belief system or my customary practice, or it will become the part of the society. As in that future generations will always find it as a part of it and will see that practice as the part of it. Clear? So with this idea of religion, when I'm saying, so with this idea of globalization, when I was talking, I'm talking about exchange of goods, exchange of ideas and its intermixing. Then there are two phenomena which happen. One is homogenization. Clear? And the second is glocalization. Clear? So have you all seen this in practice? If you can imagine it, what is homogenization? Homogenization is simple phenomena where you mix two different things or two different ideas and then create a new idea which has its combination. So say, for example, have you seen people wearing jeans and kurta? Or Indo-Western, there is something called Indo-Western in dress, which is one of the most prominent ones nowadays in marriages and different functions. What is this Indo-Western? Indo-Western is the idea of homogenization. What we are doing? We have taken up the Indian style of dress and the Western style of dress, mixed it and made a new form of dress. Made a new form of dress. Say like wearing kurta and the jeans. This was never the combination. Jeans goes with the shirt or a t-shirt, that is one of the common ones in the West. In India, kurta and pajama, kurta and dhoti is one of the common ones. What we did, we took one aspect of the Indian and the other one of the Western and mixed it. Now it's a new style, altogether a new style. So this is homogenization. This is the first thing that happens in the society. This is the first impact of globalization on the society. That is homogenization. What do? We start forming new practices. We start having new practices which are a mixture of these two ideas. Mixture of the ideas of two different regions or two different parts of the world, where it has altogether born into a different, completely new idea. Now, getting to the next, glocalization. What do we mean by glocalization? Glocalization is formed by two words, global and local. So when we form a new idea which is altogether a mixture of those two existing ideas, then we also form this glocalization, where what do? We make the global one local. बर्गर खाने जाते हो ना, कितने तरह के बर्गर मिलते हैं, कितने तरह का पिज्जा मिलता है? क्या एक्चुअली बर्गर वही सेम वे है जो बन के आया फॉरेन से? मतलब फॉरेन में जो बर्गर का आइडिया था, या पिज्जा का आइडिया था, या पास्ता का आइडिया था, क्या सेम स्टाइल हम खा रहे होते हैं? नहीं. You go to McD, they have adopted a different way. Now we have paneer tikka burger, paneer double cheese burger, आलू टिक्की बर्गर, आलू चाट टिक्की बर्गर, और दाल मखनी पनीर पिज्जा. What all these words conveying? What we have done? We have turned global into local. Turned global into local. Now, when you understood this idea of homogenization and glocalization, now get into the second idea. How the society would have turned. Society would have either homogenized with that Western idea, or it would have turned that global idea into the local idea. So this is something like, I go to a place, I learn a new style of dish, and then add up my own spices to favor my taste. And with that, I develop a altogether different dish. I'm using the same name which I have learned, but the ingredients have changed. The process has changed. Something that is meant for shallow fry has now turned into deep fry. So if you look to this, vada pav is one idea, samosa pav is altogether a different idea. Vada pav was something which was originally used, but now some of the people have developed samosa pav or samosa bread. So what we are conveying there? We are conveying that we have adopted, seen something, understood it, and then inserted our choice of item into it to make it global. That global has turned into local. So with these two ideas, I will leave this session here to discuss in the later session as to what actually has brought in change in different spheres of the society. So like, if I talk about marriage, if I talk about family structure, if I talk about the dress or entertainment or all these aspects, or festivals, celebration and things, then we'll see one thing, that somewhere there would be impression of these two things, homogenization and glocalization. So the terms which I have said, start thinking on it. So in relation with families, whether we have homogenized, like we have adopted the Western idea and Indian idea and mixed it and formed a new idea, or we have adopted the global idea and made it local. What has happened? That is visible to us. If we start observing it, we will find it beautifully that everything around the idea of globalization works into these two terms only, that is homogenization and glocalization. Either something would have homogenized and formed one different, altogether different idea, and the second is it would have either formed into a separate entity of global idea, where the original format of it would have remained same as from where it is adopted, but the internal structure would have changed to fit our system. Clear? Now you are understanding it. The external set is altogether same like the global one or to the idea from where it is adopted. Clear? But the internal structure would have changed. The internal structure would have been in such a way that it has our system's essence or our system's idea into it. Clear? So I am leaving the session here with this idea of homogenization and glocalization to have a discussion of in depth of how this homogenization and globalization has impacted the Indian society, and we'll look to all the different aspects, that is positive aspects of it, negative aspects of it, and how it has impacted at different level of or different period of time. So for now, thank you everyone.